Hey everybody, welcome. My name's Alicia. As you know, I'm so excited to bring you Introduction to the 1099 Freedom Masterclass. Just to kind of give you a little idea of what it is that I do, and I'd like to find out, of course, what you guys do. So this will be a little bit interactive. We're going to use the chat window some, and if any of you guys at any point in time want to just unmute and say anything, please just go right ahead. I am good with that. So I'm a CRNA here in Savannah, Georgia. Honestly, I'm so excited to be a 1099 CRNA. And I know you probably guessed that, but it's really true. I mean, my history as a CRNA predates, I wanted to be a CRNA so bad. I mean, I worked really hard for it, like all of us did. I studied really hard, and I got out of school and I became a W-2 CRNA, just like most of us, right? And all of a sudden I was just so unfulfilled, and I struggled. I wondered if I had done the right thing, because as a registered nurse, I was a critical care 1099 registered nurse. And I mean, I floated to several different places, and I was a contract worker for years. And I had forgotten, when I was ready to go get a job, I had forgotten why I ever started anesthesia school in the first place, and really the reason was I had been 1099, I was living aboard a boat. I've had many chapters in my life, as most of us have, right? As a sailor, I met a lot of nurses, and they were all travelers, and every one of them were contract nurses. That idea excited me back then, and as quick as I could, I left W-2, and I was so happy because I've never really been the most timely person in my life. And so it was really great to show up just a minute or two late, and actually everybody embraced me and said, "Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for covering. We really needed help," Or a lot of the jobs turned into these long-term jobs. And so as a CRNA, fresh out of school, all of us went into W-2. I didn't have one thought about it. But let me just tell you, when Christmas came along, Easter, Passover, all of the holidays came along, and I realized that there was this big vying of seniority to get over, to be able to enjoy those holidays. And then it was like, no, you're not going to get to do that, because listen, you're low man on the totem pole, And I mean, I understand. That's how it was with nursing. I mean, I started as a night nurse, but as soon as the opportunity came for me to join the float pool, I did it. And as a 1099 registered nurse, I was so happy. I had several different work families. Every now and then I'd pop into another facility and let them know, "Hey, I'm a registered nurse that's 1099. Do y'all need help?" I got so much work. And I gotta tell you, I developed this method for doing it. And obviously what this all titrates down to is, my misery as a W-2 CRNA really did a job on my head and made me realize I was not going to be happy as a W-2. I just knew it. And even though I was living aboard, I was in Palm Beach County. First I started in Tampa, then went to Palm Beach County, beautiful places. While I was getting credentialed, what did I do? Went kayaking, went through all these nice rivers in Central Florida. We had sailed down to the Marquesas, sailed up to Tampa, didn't like it there, sailed back down and over to Palm Beach. And it was beautiful, right? I mean, hibiscus everywhere. Probably a lot of you guys live in Florida. But actually, that's one of the things I wanted to do. I want to take just a second. We're going to get to this. But I really want to know, are you 1099 or you W-2? I'm just so excited to bring all of us CRNAs together in these groups. I never want anybody to go breathing, oh, I saw so-and-so in that group. No, don't do any of that. What happens on 1099 Freedom Masterclass Introduction stays right here, okay? That is the deal. Are y'all good? But I can't tell you how many people that have taken the 1099 CRNA Freedom Masterclass are retired. They are retired and now they're picking up all of this 1099 work, and it's almost like a whole new beginning. It's just breathed a whole new life into their work, because it is, just like Ann here says, it is such a freedom, flexibility, fun. But my equation for fun, is money plus time to enjoy the money, yourself, and not just make it for everybody else. So that's what fun is. So this is why I created the 1099 CRNA Freedom Masterclass. Because let me just tell you what, like all of us, we have struggled to become a CRNA. We struggle sometimes as a CRNA. It's not the easiest job, right? It's pretty exciting at times. We've got some well-developed cheeks just because of day-to-day life, You'd think sitting in the chair you wouldn't be squeezing your cheeks, but yeah, we do. So forgive me. But so I'm going to go ahead and open my slideshow for you guys. I'm going to share screen. There we go. That was me. That was me 3 years ago when I started this. I think it's 4 years now. When I officially started the 1099 CRNA Freedom Masterclass. This is the first slide I ever put together. I had never done PowerPoint in my life prior to that. I was sort of a completely self-taught instructor. But I have learned, because I so have a mission to get my message across. And my message is that you can be just as happy as you ever wanted to be. You can be happier than you ever dreamed it was possible as a 1099 CRNA. And I'm really excited to tell you, I have learned this the hard way. I was burnt out at 3 months of working as a CRNA, as a W-2 CRNA. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? Why am I so miserable? I loved being a nurse. I loved being in critical care. What is happening, And I'd get my check and I'd be like, okay, no, wait. This is not what I signed up for. I signed up for a lot more money than this. And I realized, well, shoot, it's all going away in taxes. And I was confused by all of that, But I thought, well, the safe thing is, let me start out as a W-2 person, and really I didn't think too far past that. I had a friend, we found this job together. And so we're like, isn't this fun, But after, it was fun prior to credentialing. And then once we were credentialed and started working, it was fun for a while, the honeymoon. And then it wasn't very fun because we were there until way late at night. We were there on call. We were short-staffed. We didn't know it. And we were miserable because we were exhausted. We were bickering over vacation among everybody where I was working. And people were not getting to fulfill their day-to-day dreams. They weren't able to go see their families and stuff. And then fortunately around Christmas time, they brought in the 1099ers. What I noticed to begin with is at 3 o'clock, they were trooping out the door. And I'm like, what is going on here? Then I realized, oh, that's right. That's how I used to live when I was 1099. And then it occurred to me, for heaven's sake, the reason I decided to do this, I know about time. I knew time would go by. I would survive CRNA school. I would make a great income for my cruising husband and I. And we could sail everywhere and it was going to be just groovy. We were going to have kids, take them sailing on the boat. All of this was great. The dream was half-baked because as a W-2 CRNA, I was exhausted. I didn't want to do anything when I was off. I wasn't able to plan to reach my goals because I was too wrapped up with work. And so fast forward to 2020, I just want to say, after I had been 1099 for many, many years, after I had made that transition, and I'll tell you a little bit about that, but I was diagnosed with sarcoma. And not to be a doggy downer, but at that point, I realized that life is very short, and boy, we need to enjoy what we're doing, right? So at that point, I decided I would teach. I would teach everything I had learned about 1099 life to all of my CRNA cohorts. And prior to that, I ended up going and having surgery and surviving. But really and truly, every day of my life is dedicated to freeing other CRNAs to live this kind of lifestyle where you waltz into work and you waltz out at 3. I mean, what is not to love about that? Actually, there's a lot of CRNAs who want to work these 10-hour shifts, 12-hour shifts. I've always been a creature of the 8-hour shift, And actually, thanks to my early training as a 1099 registered nurse, I knew all about 8-hour minimums and working 4 to 6 hours and getting paid quite well. And I knew about popping into workplaces that I had no idea if they needed me, and they would need me so bad, and didn't have the opportunity to hire back then a nurse because they really didn't know how to go about doing it. Well, guess what? When I walked in there, I was able to tell them my rate, what I wanted, what I was able to bring to the table for them, that I wanted to partner with them. They love hearing that term. And so I was always able to negotiate really good money as a 1099 registered nurse. So I communicated this to my registered nurses friends, but like I say, when I graduated, I had forgotten all of that. And I really needed a mentor. And so I had sat down to lunch with a 1099 CRNA at that job where I was so exhausted. And she was like, you can do this again. You don't have to wait. So there I was at 3 months of a CRNA, and I realized what she was saying. We deal with fear all the time, but I wasn't going to let it stop me from living my life. And in fact, because I had done this as a registered nurse, I knew what was at stake. And what was at stake was me feeling like a martyr and sacrificing myself in a situation that was very thankless and impersonal towards me, versus me being in control, taking the jobs I wanted, working where I wanted, when I wanted. If I didn't like it, if they weren't nice or great, or if somehow things weren't jiving, I can leave, That is why I'm here today, because no matter where I have worked, I felt very strongly about personal freedom. I want to just take 1 second, and I'm honored to introduce my sister, Paris, who is just coming on here. She's got a little chat in the chat. And Paris takes care of all of this kind of IT stuff, anything to do with the course. We built this course together after my sarcoma surgery, where she came with me to Memorial Sloan Kettering, and we had a hilarious time. It was during COVID, and so, once I was out of the hospital, we stayed in Brooklyn for a while, in Fort Greene, and it was so cool, to recover there with her. And I told her my dream of teaching the nation of CRNAs about 1099, and she encouraged me. And so now she's still here backing me up, and for that, I will forever be grateful. So if ever you need anything, she's also like a personal health coach and stuff. So as a result, that works well for me as well. So keeping sanity and healthy, all of that is good. So, but if you ever need anything while like your hours, receipts, or anything like that, Paris is the one to go to. Paris at 1099successacademy.com. So anyway, obviously we know the money is better as a 1099 CRNA, but so many CRNAs do not make this move, even though the money is so much better. And why? Because they don't know a thing about taxation, and they are fearful they're going to get in trouble. They're going to get audited. It's going to be a terrible outcome. No, it's not like that. Absolutely not like that. all you have to concern yourself with right now is, for mindset, let's find the work. Find the work, locate what would be a cool job, locate what might be a cool place to work. You don't need to know a thing about it. It's hard to know anything about it Monday through Friday like this, and then on call and stuff. We don't know what's out there, right? So a huge part of what I teach is how to find the jobs, how to negotiate for the jobs. I had Jan Menino mentor me for years about CRNA value. I would call her all the way in California and ask her questions because I saw her on Facebook. And the more I learned about CRNA value, the more I wanted to know. So I created a unit in my masterclass about that because I think we all need to know that. We need to know that like the back of our hand. Because when you know that, now you can negotiate confidently and you understand your worth. It's amazing how elevating it is. So it's not just the fact that the income is greater. It's also that the taxable income is lower. You know, I have always loved math. I had a crush on a guy in college who was math whiz, and I decided, well, I want to hang out with this guy a lot, you know? And so I became a math minor in my first degree in zoology, minor in math. And as a result, I was like, I think I'm going to become an accountant. You know, that's what I sort of wanted. That's what I had in mind to be. But I started with a major in forestry and ended up in zoology. And that relationship never worked, but I loved math. And so ultimately as a nurse and then as a CRNA, I was able to use math. And guess what? All of the accounting hobbying around that I had done, I was able to apply to my 1099 life. And it sure didn't hurt that my parents were in business. Everybody in my family was either an S corporation or a C corporation or a sole proprietor, real estate investors. My mom had an advertising agency. She did international shipping advertising. So the reason I'm telling you this is because since I was little, I've been working on ledgers and I have been sorting checks and anything mom and daddy needed me to do. That's what I did. And I learned a lot about business. I saw some ups and some downs. And I can tell you, you could try to figure all this stuff out on your own, but it's very helpful to have a mentor. As I was telling you that when I was in Florida, I was as a W-2 and I was sitting down with this mentor of mine, Darlene Hudson, down in West Palm Beach, Florida. I just want to say kudos, shout out to her because she really helped me put all of it together, all of my knowledge that I already had together with a quick and down and dirty plan on how to get out of my W-2 life and into my 1099 life. She helped me mindset transition. And I want to say, I think that's about 90% of the transition. Everything else you can learn. It's better to learn it sooner rather than later because I didn't have a financial coach. I lost tens of thousands of dollars annually. I hate to tell you guys this, but I suspect I might have lost close to $100,000 in the first 10 years of being a 1099 CRNA because I didn't realize really what all was involved. We didn't have, I hate to say this, we didn't have computers. I was, mailing the state taxes in and mailing, I didn't have a cadence until like my 9th or 10th year. And it took me a while to become an S corporation. It just took a while to get it all together. And I wouldn't want that for anybody. And so as a result, all of my friends who complained and said they just can't take it anymore, they're so burnt out. I'm like, let me help you. And finally, one of my friends said, Alicia, you need to just teach this nationally. And I thought, how am I going to do that? And then came COVID and Zoom. And so here we are today. So thank you guys for joining me. And this beautiful summertime, this great time for change, this great opportunity to make this pivot and just breathe the fresh air that you deserve. We work hard. We're in these rooms. We're taking great care of these patients. We love what we do. We need to be charged up and ready to go when we walk out of the door to live that other part of our life, our home life, our me time, We need to be charged up enough we're ready to go exercise if we didn't do it that morning, or go for a walk down our street, or make the phone call to our family members that we need to do. And so that's why I put this together. That's why I created the 1099 CRNA Freedom Masterclass. It is just for CRNAs, and it's a roadmap, and I provide mentorship with this course. So you don't have to do research. It's all together. The 1099 Freedom Masterclass consists of 10 units that are each standalone aspects that you've got to consider to really be successful with this. You can't just know about the taxes and not know how to get your mindset straight to become 1099. You can't negotiate without having worked on your, believe it or not, your brand, your marketing. You know, it all has to roll together. And so that you gain the most money from the get-go, so that during the transition you don't lose a dime, so you don't have any anxiety about making this transition smooth. That is what I've put together for you. And so many 1099 CRNAs that have taken my class, I am honored to say, have gained a ton from my financial knowledge, which is essentially about 4.5 of the units of my course. Because listen, we are not just our retirement section person. We are not just our negotiation person. We're not just our credentialing person. I mean, we wear many hats as a 1099 CRNA, but it's just like ourselves. We are made of so many parts that make us who we are and that bring, you know, our heart's value and happiness for who we are. Well, that is how 1099 is. It takes all of it to create the structure. It's not like a pyramid, you having to think and be everything. It's like once you've kind of built the groundwork, then it just comes together. And that's sort of in a intangible way what I bring to the table with the 1099 Freedom Masterclass. I want to make it easy and I want to make it a happy situation. So this is one of my, just for fun, I thought I would play a couple of the reviews of the Freedom Masterclass. Again, this is an online course. I teach it live January through March. And then starting in April and May, Megan and I record the QuickBooks course. And so it's 2 courses. The Freedom Masterclass is 28 Class A credits, and the QuickBooks it's 6. And you can get a discrete receipt for each of them because we want to protect your privacy. I spoke with the AANA during the process of accreditation, and I am honored to say that they absolutely said, yes, present this under a different name so these people can make this move, because they knew how valuable it is. They said, this is practice management. This is the bedrock for which CRNAs can develop this independent flow. This is the missing piece. So anyway, let me just bring you this recent alumni.
I'm Abby. I was a W-2 CRNA for about 8 years before transitioning to 1099 thanks to Alicia's CRNA Freedom Masterclass. As a W-2 CRNA, I was reaching a point of burnout. I was very much over my 24-hour calls and spending a lot of time away from my husband and my 2 young daughters. Last May is when I started the course, and within about a month of starting the course, I had already created my business and given my 90-day notice to my W-2 full-time job. So that was very empowering of the course right off the bat. And just a short 5 months later, I was in a new city working my first 1099 locums gig, and I had my husband and my kids with me. My career now is structured that I can work 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and have a lot more time with everyone, which obviously is a big game changer for me in my personal happiness. Alicia is certainly the expert when it comes to 1099 anything. Her personal background and then all the knowledge she bestows through the class lectures really is the testimony of that. I think as CRNAs, we're all smart and savvy when it comes to making wise educational and financial investments, and I'm someone that can vouch for this course being just that. I think it's worth every penny, and you'll be able to make the transition from W-2 to 1099 in a much more succinct, easy, stress-free, confidence building manner, and so it's very much worth it. Thanks again.
It's so nice. I mean, honestly, if you go to my website, I was going to take a second. I was going to just tell you, and I'll type it out right here, $10.99. I want you guys, if you get a chance, to check out the website, because on the website you'll see all of the instructors for the 1099 Freedom Masterclass. Because let's face it, you've got to set up your own benefits, right? I have a couple of units that cover this because it is critical. But the benefits you get at work, even though they might convince you you've got to have them, not so true. You can get your own benefits. It's just like doing your own taxes, withholding your own money. It's totally doable. It's just like not knowing how to do that is crippling. That's why I bring the experts. I bring Tony Habashi for health insurance, Jake Bevilacqua, CRNA, for life and disability insurance, several financial advisors who have awesome strategies, CPAs as well, that explain like the various business structures, the various choices, things like vehicle selection, when you are actually purchasing a vehicle so you can kind of know how to do it. The things that I'm really good at is I understand about the cash flow and what accounts things need to be paid out of in order to recapture money that you may be spending while you're a W-2, but you're working on the transition to 1099. There's a lot of deductions in there. And when you recapture that, those are called startup business deductions. And guess what? They're huge. It's like a tax credit, almost. In some cases it is, in some states it is. So state and federal, that's the other part that I teach. It's a lot. So I was just going to cover really quick what you save. Like a lot of people will charge you anywhere from $250 to $600 to set up your business. CPAs and lawyers, I teach you how to do that. You can totally do that. This is within our realm. I mean, people who string beads set up their own businesses. But it is a foreign process to those of us that have been in healthcare as W-2. It's not straightforward. So it ends up costing a lot of money, but it doesn't have to. So again, spending time talking about your business setup, contract negotiation. There's a lot of fear surrounding contracts initially, and it's understandable. But what I have people do, if you're looking at a new contract, send me a copy. Part of what Jan Menino brings to my course is all the aspects of contracts and also CRNA value. So she's got some fantastic lectures, and I'm really honored that, Jan Menino is the CRNA that actually negotiated that we do the same work as physician anesthesiologists, and therefore CMS reimburses us exactly the same. So if it's two of us, it's 50-50. If it's just a CRNA or just an MDA, it's 100%. Right there, how does that value make you feel? So contracts are expensive, but you don't have to spend all that money. I teach about contracts and what you need to look for, and then you can send me a copy. We can look at it together on Zoom. Bookkeeping costs a lot more than this. I actually have been seeing rates like $500, $600 a month because they do it by transactions. And let me just say, CRNAs, we make a lot of transactions. That's okay. And then S corporation, setup, understanding reasonable compensation, how all of that works, why it works, why it's legal, what are the laws behind it. Every single thing to do with accounting harks back to a lawsuit of one kind or another. And that is how these rules become established and clarified. So I teach only the legal means to do what is correct and lawful, so that if you ever had an audit, you would feel like chin up, opening the door, here's some coffee. That's not how they do it these days, but still, you can be very congenial with an audit these days if you know what you're doing from the get-go. And if you don't, you can be really scattered. And that is what I spend a lot of my time teaching: organization. There are methods of financial organization that we do within our homes and our home offices that if we don't do those, you feel like you're losing your mind, because it's like too many loose ends. I do quite a bit of that education, but it helps. It makes you feel good. you know? So these are some of the savings you can get. And if you add that up over the next learning curve of 1099, where you're just like digging through the Facebook, trying to answer questions, and it's just stressful. I'll save you time, money, anxiety, and it's for real. I mean, I'm not even kidding. If you go, once you get done and everything, you go to our website, you'll see they were able to put the reviews because people wanted to leave testimonials. And I was really surprised by that, but it turned out to be just so nice. I spend time with each CRNA that ever reaches out to me that takes my course. You know, if it's estimated taxes they need to figure out, if it's how much can I put away in retirement. I've learned so much from having all these specialists join my class that I'm actually able to help quite a bit. You can all read the disclaimer. I mean, the disclaimer is I am not a lawyer. I'm not your bail team, you know, your banker, accountant, insurance agent, and lawyer. No, but I bring them all to you. So you don't have any questions left to ask. And if you do, these people have committed, if they are teaching a webinar, they are a mentor in my class and you can reach out to them. They all give their contact information. All you would have to do is mention, yep, I am in the 1099 CRNA Freedom Masterclass. So that's what they do in exchange. It's really nice. It really works out well. The key to a lot of my course is that you can't get in touch with a CPA a lot of time, not when you need them. And so this takes that tax anxiety away. So you don't have to wait for your CPA. You go ahead and get everything set up. You get your payroll set up. You get your bookkeeping set up, everything is on the move. You get organized in your home. You get your paperwork organized in such a way. You get your Google Drive, OneDrive organized in such a way that then all of a sudden, everything is kind of easy breezy. You understand about mileage and how to do the math on the vehicle expenses as well as the home office expenses. And I just wanted to bring relief to CRNAs so that they're able to make the transition, because what happens after that? So all of a sudden you don't have stress about how it all works. And so all of a sudden you're able to look and really see the jobs that you will enjoy. And if you're in a job you don't enjoy, you're able to go to another job. And let me just tell you, people are nice. They're your family at your original job. Go ahead and go somewhere else for a little bit, because you can always spin it around and go back. They'll say, oh no, we can't do that. Well, that's very common. That's a very common attitude. There's a lot of gaslighting that goes on where they'll say things. People, even your friends, will say things because they want to keep you there. But is it good? Is it the right fit for you and your family? Who are you appeasing? Why are you working? You have to always bring yourself back to your center and say, what is really important in this life? If I were gone, if I had a week to live, would I be going to work at that place? Or would I be spending time on myself and my family? This is where learning about the balance comes in. So it's really nice when you make a whole lot more money, you pay a whole lot less taxes, which is the fact, then you actually have more time because you don't have to work as much. And then if you're trying to hit some goals, get that ball in the hole there, then you're able to get that done because you'll have the right speakers that you can reach out to. And so what it's about is it's about creating relationships. That's what 1099 is all about. And so even though we feel a little introverted behind our drape, we can fake it till we make it. Just like the very first time we ever hooked up the drape. Do you remember the first time you put the drape up? And you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I just intubated that patient. Here's the drape. It looks good, you know, got the eye tape on, and you fake it till you make it. You learn through doing. And that is part of what I teach. I teach a method so that you can go through this in a really sane way. And then also, I just want to say, in addition to this discrete receipt that Paris creates, it's called like the Financial Freedom Masterclass and the Investment Freedom Masterclass. That way you can, it's really a wellness course. It's a financial wellness and psychological and emotional wellness course when you want to get right down to it. we're giving you a discrete receipt, and we really do teach that stuff in these classes. Even though we need to take the word 1099 off because that wouldn't be too cool, right? We want to respect your privacy. Anybody would want their privacy respected. So that's why we do that. We provide brochures if they're needed. And then the other thing that we do now is now we're partnering with Amazon in order for you to actually get a $400 gift card when you purchase the course. So in fact, you'll purchase the course for $19.99 and get a $400 gift card. And that way, instead of just taking advantage of the Father's Day discount that we have right now, which is $400 off for the 1099 Freedom Masterclass and $200 off for the QuickBooks, now it is a $400 gift card, and you get CME reimbursement of $1,900 back. So that is how it works. The nice thing is this course is very accessible. It is an online at your own pace course. You still have to take these tests, and I'm just going to say all of the above. My favorite answer always has been. And because really this course is about putting your life together. You're going to get the credits, but really and truly, it's about having mentorship to achieve your dream, to be true to yourself. That's what it's about. You know, RRNAs we have in the past, and because I'm advertising it, if you are a resident, registered nurse anesthetist, then you will get this deal. It's like $1,000 off as a student because you can't get CME reimbursement for it the way you're having to do it. So we cut the price in half. But literally, to get started as a 1099 CRNA, you can work at a trauma center 1, get tons of guidance, just like everybody's running at those places. Or you could work at a CRNA only facility and get a lot of support. So even people who are CRNA residents can take this course, get a ton of benefit, learn how to negotiate, and learn how to get into their new lifestyle in such a great way. So the QuickBooks is taught by Dr. Megan Connor. She is absolutely phenomenal. The website for that, I am so bad with that website name. But anyway, we do have a website for the QuickBooks. And it's in the email that'll follow this, as well as all the instructions should you want to take this course. But if you want to take advantage of the offer with the Amazon gift card, then click the link, copy and paste that link. Because you've attended this, you are going to get to take advantage of that. So that's really nice. That'll work out. That link is nowhere else right now except where you're seeing it right here, and so feel free to utilize that. So this is a little discussion board of some questions and stuff. Think about the kind of centers you could work at. You know, are you thinking of, you probably wonder, where's Alicia work, right? I mean, it's just curious, right? Because I teach this course, what do? Well, I was 1099 for years and years at different hospitals and also surgery centers. And then just about 2021, I started working in physicians' offices and dental offices. And I love that. So now I've got 2 dentist offices that I do every other week. I alternate. So that's 4 dental days. And then I have a pain clinic that I go give sedation at every other Saturday. They all pay really, really nicely. I will tell you, I don't make less than $2,100 at any of them. And one of them, actually, I'm just going to say, I know how to negotiate this. So anyway, I make $3,800 for an 8-hour minimum. You know, it sounds like, wow, that is incredible. Well, let me just tell you, there are a few other hours there because I actually call the patients and I make the dentist get all of their histories and their physical. It is a concierge service. I look at all their lab work. I want to see their EKGs, their echoes. I talk to the patients. If I have any questions, I call their physician and speak with their physician. Because we're doing implants where all of the teeth are being extracted. I'm drawing blood to get it spun down for fibrin-rich plasma plasma rich fibrin, whatever, PRF, FRP, I never know. But anyway, we spin it down because they stitch that into the area around the implants, so they'll heal in very quickly. But anyway, enough about me. But this is why I love to teach what I'm doing, because I'm able to flow into working positions that I like, you know? And so it doesn't feel like work. I love what I do. I do some GI center. I love to negotiate all these random people who text me all the time. So it's just great. You know, I negotiate these incredible deals. I push our rate up. I think it's okay. All right. So these are just some of the questions. And this is the one question I really wanted to ask you guys. You know, what is the biggest fear that you would have, literally? What is the biggest fear you would have about leaving W-2? I mean, let's get heart to heart, because there are fears. I mean, going from W-2, to 1099. There is a lot of fear involved with that transition, right? It feels bigger than anything. Yeah, not having work. That is a huge fear that so many people have. Or is anybody got any other fears that they'll share about going 1099? A lot of people will say different things. Not having work is one of the big things that people say. But let me just tell you that even beginning in Unit 1, I addressed this. I actually created something called the fetch method, which is a means to obtain work just about anywhere that you would dream of. And it doesn't take a lot of bravery or anything. You're just kind of following a few steps. You're gathering information. And all of a sudden, one day, not long after you start the course, you realize there is work everywhere. It is plentiful. There are millions of procedures available for anesthesia done across the country. Where they need anesthesia, they don't have it, or they're working short, or they're not happy with their providers, their company, and they're getting rid of the whole company and they're hiring 30, you know? Or they're out in the boonies and they're working 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off, or 1 week on and 3 weeks off, or however you could get in there, however they can get help is really, you know? So the cards are in our favor. We can work wherever we want to work. There is an enormous amount of work around. I try not to use my method because I just don't have enough time in my life to do all of that work. And even though the rate of pay is so high, time is a commodity to me. You see me in this? You know, I've been working in the garden today. I always take the day off before I do these lectures so I can kind of feel ready. I don't know what I don't know, all the details. Exactly. You know, you can fish around in these Facebook groups all day long, but to me, it's a little terrifying if you just didn't already have that information all together. If you had to hunt and peck it, and then you weren't sure, is that a priority? Is that a priority? Why is everybody saying different stuff? So this is why I decided to bring in the professionals to just double check everything. Let's make sure that everybody who leaves this course, it's tight, it's together. Screwing up on taxes. Yeah, because as somebody who's W-2, how can you know all of the nitty gritty details, all the moves you need to make? It's not just knowing what you ought to do, it's actually putting that into action. The mechanics of it are tricky, and they don't have to be tricky. All of this course, what it does is it attends to all of these fears, you know. There is no point in getting creamed by taxes, ever. When you have somebody who has been there and done that, and you sit down for a couple of hours and put in your numbers, work through what is the individual differences, everybody's tax life is a little different. But when you titrate it all down and you have somebody to talk to, then it's not that hard. And the change, you know, I agree. The change is always scary. But isn't it funny how that when you're through the change, you look back and you don't really remember exactly all that fear. I mean, because now it's not so fearful anymore. It reminds me of the transition from anesthesia school to working in a hospital. and I'm the CRNA, I'm it. Or I'll never forget when I was a brand new registered nurse and a patient went into VTAC and I stepped out the door and I said, I need a nurse. And they said, you are a nurse. And I was like, oh, damn it. So yeah, credentialing. Credentialing is another big thing. Yeah, but there are ways to optimize all of these things, all of these processes. You have to become very good at being prepared, right? And who is better prepared than a CRNA? I'm just going to say, one of the pearls I wanted to leave you with is regarding credentialing. There's a W-4 form when you're a W-2 employee you have to fill out. Well, when you're 1099, there is a W-9 form. And if you fill that out very beautifully in a PDF format and you put it in your drive, in your Google Drive, then you always have it. You're ready to just send that thing out. And your CV, you're ready to send it out. It becomes very rote. It becomes very, that part becomes just, I gotta do this, that, I'm checking the boxes. It becomes very unexciting when you see everything you need to do. You run into a bump, there's always a bump, and you're like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to do this. No, you just reach out to me, you message me, you email me, we get on a Zoom, we pick up the phone and talk, we work through it. And then all of a sudden it's like, then it's all behind you and you're like, wait, I've already made this change and I don't even really feel it. And that's what's nice. So that's the goal. That is exactly the goal of the class. So thank you guys all. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. That is exactly right. Thanks for participating like that. The other thing I would suggest is think about your life like it's a vision board. Look up a vision board. There's actually a vision board app. Start putting the things down on it that you want to do in your life. How old are we? What stage are we at in our life? Who are the people that we love around us or that we care about? And how can we have meaning in our life? What books can we read? What walks can we take? What work can we do that's different so we can grow? What can we do to grow? And I think the best thing that you can do as a CRNA professionally is become 1099. And that way it's not confusing. Like, who is he? Is a physician anesthesiologist? Is he or she our boss who's telling us what to do or trying to appear that they've got to do things in this way and that we should conform? Are we doing it because we're W-2 and they're our boss? And you see the confusion there with supervision requirements and W-2 requirements. So when you take the W-2 out of the picture, suddenly your world as a CRNA just, I'm not even kidding, it blooms. It's like fresh air. And yet they will tell you things, they'll make you question yourself. All of them, your coworkers, the doctors, because they don't want to lose you. You are so valuable. You are making their mortgage payment for their great big house on the river and their yachts and their vacations. They do not want to lose you. You bring their business a huge tax deduction as a W-2 employee. Did you know that? And did you know that you can take advantage of that tax break if you were not their employee? You get the benefit. And who are you really doing this for? Are you doing it for your work family or are you doing it for you? Imposter syndrome, definitely look this up. At an AANA convention that I went to actually last year, a fella did a workshop on imposter syndrome, and over 90% of the people in there have imposter syndrome. And do you know what? Because it's common. Who else had imposter syndrome? Do you guys know of other people, famous people that thought that they couldn't believe other people were buying their Kool-Aid? Albert Einstein. Everybody in his whole life told him he was an idiot. Even when he was doing all these genius things, he still felt like an idiot because of all that. He couldn't get past it. Maya Angelou felt like she was a total fraud. But I'm telling you, you can do this. You probably have imposter syndrome. Yeah, it's not unusual. It's normal. But recognize it for what it is. Study it. Learn about it. And realize it doesn't have to hold you back in those golden handcuffs in the land of W-2. There is no amount of money that would make me go W-2. There is no amount of money. It's so nice to be in charge of my schedule and my time. Well, we're wrapping it up. We've talked a little bit about some of this. It's hard to look at. Yep, travel brochures, we do those. And we'll give you a discreet receipt so you can get CME and have this paid for. But the people who've paid for it out of pocket, they're some of the highest accolades. Isn't it true that if you pay for something yourself, then boy, you really throw yourself into it? So I think that's where that comes from. And then many of the alumni of this course re-enroll. If you want to do that, then in the next 4-year cycle, if you continue to re-enroll, it's like 1/4 of the price. And if you re-enroll, then you just are able to take the test and get the credits again. But that way, you get to be apprised of the legislation, the tax changes, the tax laws that have changed, changes in the CRNA market in different parts of the country. So, and a lot of professional issues. So you can only imagine, right? So yeah, then for just a tiny fee, then you can join the live version of the class, which is fun. A lot of people do that after doing the online version. They'll stay and give a little bit, and then that just helps us with the processing of subscriptions and everything, and stay for the live version. In addition to this, we also offer a class called Business of Anesthesia. That is really about preparing for office-based practice, like what I'm doing, like what so many others do. But I brought in a lot of people like Brett Maxfield and Adam Chaucer, and just folks from Alaska, all over the country, that are doing all different types of office-based practices. Thank you, everybody. We're going to call this a wrap. Thank you guys so much. I'm so excited for you. I am so excited for what the future has for you. And I know that you're going to reach for this type of future, because really that's what this is. This is just like the push of that ball, and the ball will roll, and you're going to have so much freedom in your life. So congratulations. I love it. So nice. Thank you. You're welcome.